you got to give your flowers to Lamine Yamal. Did anybody have a better weekend than him?
Whew.
Did Yamal win the weekend?
Or a better weekend or a better week in general.
Facts.
You know, it's just amazing stuff. What he is able to do at such a young age, generational talent doesn't even fully encompass what he's doing, because he is playing in a way where big time moments, he steps up. And that's typically what your more experienced players are doing, and or it's more related to form. But this is now, we're getting accustomed to anytime either the Spanish national team or Barcelona needs a moment, Lamine Yamal is the one that's delivering it, and he has so much sauce and rhythm and swag. And anytime you have a player coming in off their weaker foot toward their stronger foot, from a defensive perspective, it's very difficult to defend, and he does it ever so well almost every single time he gets in those attacking spots.
When you're prioritizing a teenager over other seasoned players to get things done, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's what Barcelona has been doing, though. La Masia.
Yeah, facts.
La Masia. This is, you don't have the money right now, so you go through what made Barcelona so significant under Pep Guardiola. This kid is a generational talent, and we talk about who had a better week. This guy, who's had a better year so far than this guy in the last, 12 months? This guy won the European Championship, kicked everyone's ass, including England's, and took everyone's names, and there were question marks of, can he sustain this? And he's answered that thoroughly. His consistency is what's floored my brain. At 17 years young, this guy can't even do a lot of things that the rest of the world can do by the time they're 18. Between 18 and 21, that's where things get really, really fun. But this is a guy that's locked in. He's a professional. He's having fun. And I just love that we're seeing a player. We haven't seen this. I know people are saying, we shouldn't make the comparisons to him and Lionel Messi. Well, I'm going to make a comparison that we haven't seen an exciting talent like this at the age of 17 or 18 since Lionel Messi broke on the scene. And this is a guy right now that when you put him around a seasoned veteran like Robert Lewandowski, who I thought was outstanding in the second half, he stepped up, led by example, against a player who has ascended into a world-class category like Rafinha. The sky's the limit for this kid.
You're furrowing your brow a little bit.
I am furrowing
Was it the Messi show? What was it?
I'm furrowing my brow because why shouldn't we make the comparison? We
absolutely can make
should.
that comparison. I agree.
We need to, because when Messi burst on the scene, don't forget Barcelona was star-studded.
Right.
Ronaldinho said it himself when he was on top of the world. Yeah, I'm balling, but I'm not even the best player on my team.
Was Messi doing Lamine Yamal things at 17?
Not quite.
That's my point. So now it's a matter of does the consistency turn into longevity? Does he stay focused, locked in? Michael Richards was talking about the fact that he was a young teenage phenom as well, and the pressures that come with that. So now it's a matter of Barcelona protecting a young teenager, protecting his mentality, keeping him insulated and keeping him motivated, because that right there is the difference for me between Messi and every other generational talent at 17.
And the world has changed a lot in 20 years ago when it was Messi, 17, living in Barcelona. I want to move the conversation a little bit now to the manager, Hansi Flick. How much credit does he deserve on the impact that he's been able to have on this Barcelona side?
I mean, this all comes down to Hansi Flick. Barcelona last season were a dumpster fire under Xavi, and it was around this time where the season went kaput. Xavi came out and he pretty much said, we're not going to win the league. We're way off from winning anything. And this is a guy that winning is in his DNA. Go back to what he did with Bayern Munich when they won the treble and they humiliated Barcelona in the Champions League semifinal. And you talked about young players. You and I are both young players, and every one of us at this desk was young at a certain point in time, and we were all 17. The consistency that we question of can Lamine Yamal continue to produce this, you have to have a good manager who has been there and produced this with young players as well. This is a guy that helped bring up Jamal Musiala at Bayern Munich. So he's had that in his CV of dealing with young players, surrounding them with good veterans who have won things. That's why Robert Lewandowski, that partnership is a match made in heaven. The change in mentality, though, when I see Hansi Flick, that is what I see in Barcelona. The goals are one thing. Them coming back, a Barcelona from last year does not come back in a match like this. It's 2-0, it's game done. Hansi Flick has turned Barcelona from tiki-taka into match-winning mentality monsters. They have some of the best winners in terms of 50-50s, in terms of turning the ball around, in terms of transition. I'd say right now, in terms of mentality, them and PSG have the top 2 best mentalities in European football.
And also, when you talk about Hansi Flick as well, the style has changed. And that's a bold thing to do, to come into Barcelona and change the style, though. Because you had to essentially before play tiki-taka style, because that's what everyone wanted you to do. Not that they can't do that or they don't do it at times, but they play with jet fuel, go hit you on the counter, so it's exciting stuff as well. And they've been putting 4 pieces on top teams in the world. Not easy to do.
Who do you think has benefited the most from the style change under Flick?
I think Lamine has, because I think
Look, who wants a bite?
Okay,
What you got?
go on.
I think he has, because he's isolated way more. He's isolated way more, where he can go 1v1 on that right-hand side, cut in, and then either get assists or bangers top corner.
Yeah, I'm just going to put some lotion on because I'm getting a little ashy waiting in the wings right now.
You've been ashy all show,
I'm
bro.
gonna get ashy.
Are you feeling
You've been
left out
ashy
today?
all
No,
show,
I'm not feeling left out, because how are we going to talk about Barcelona without talking about Rafinha?
Then speak on it.
This guy, the example of what Hansi Flick is doing is embodied in Rafinha. He's become a player that fans were questioning, why did we get this guy? Towards the end of last season, okay, he started getting more goals. He started getting connected with Robert Lewandowski. But what this guy has done to take a winger who was an out-and-out wide player, 1v1, get to the end line, to turn him into a Ballon d'Or candidate, that is down to Hansi Flick, and also down to the player. And this was a guy that the club was trying to get rid of in the summer.
Yeah, I understand.
And Hansi Flick, Nico Williams was who Barcelona were trying to get. And Hansi Flick said, calmate, calmate. We have the guy. I'll turn him into a freaking soon-to-be La Liga champion. Rafinha, right now, he's leading the Ballon d'Or race.
I'm not disagreeing with the fact that he's leading the Ballon d'Or race, but is that more down to the player or the system? Because the argument for me is it's more difficult to keep a young teenager motivated and scoring goals, and that takes a manager typically going to a young player and saying, hey, look, I know you're doing this, I know you're doing that, but you need to keep doing this. So Rafinha, for me, has a more mature mentality to what you would assume, as opposed to Lamine Yamal. That's why, for me, Hansi Flick is more beneficial to Lamine than Rafinha.
I think we have a good segment called Borrow My Buggin', and I think you're
save
bugging.
that for
I
Friday.
think
Michael, have you been
Rafinha-
feeling a little like left out this morning?
No, I'm just getting my. If I was
sorry,
feeling a little ashy.
I don't want to come in here and ignore you.
Like, Rafinha is such a good shout that I feel like I'm the most proud of this chaos grenade that I have lobbed today. So thank you for that.
No, look,
should be proud,
both
Cooper.
players are outstanding, but man, Rafinha, he's taking his game to another. You talk about the system.
I agree.
He's taking his game to another level because of the impact of Hansi Flick.
Kupo, your chaos bomb robbed us of talking about
I'm sorry, but
Atleti and
there's
Diego
fun
Simeone,
stuff.
you know?
I love Cholo, but
Yeah, I
let's
know.
spare him today.
Yeah,